Hey guys, it's Dave again here with MD Airsoft, and today we're going to be talking about some gearboxes. I've got a little selection of 3 different gearboxes on the table, and I'm just going to kind of go over some of the differences, some of the similarities, and maybe some of the applications for these gearboxes as well. So first we'll start with one of the most common, if not the most common gearbox. This is a version 2, this one is Classic Army. Version 2s you're going to find in a lot of M4 guns. If not all the M4 guns, you're going to find a version 2. You're going to find a lot of version 2s in similar type guns, much like the PTS Masada. Now, there is a slight difference between that one and this one, whereas the version 2 in the Masada is a modified version 2, and it actually has a motor cage. Now, in these version 2s, things go like this. You basically will have your cylinder head, cylinder, and piston inside that. Then you'll have your gear set in these 3 holes, and your trigger components. Tappet plate rides along this little groove here, and your cutoff lever goes there. And the motor will come in up underneath here. So that's pretty much version 2. And then we'll go on here to the version 3. Again, I believe this is another Classic Army gearbox. This one's, again, slightly modified, because you'll notice, if you know anything about a version 3 gearbox, is they will have a motor cage on the bottom, which holds the motor directly to the gearbox. But this one actually has an adapter here, which allows the motor to sit freely underneath it, much like the version 2. But again, most version 3s you'll see in AKs, they're all version 3s, and they all have the motor cage on the bottom, which holds the motor on to the bottom like that. This one is all screwed together, so I can't really open it up, but again, it's very similar to the version 2, where you're going to have your cylinder head, your cylinder, piston inside that. Your gear sets will be riding on these 3 holes here, where you'll have bushings inside. Trigger's going to come out here, and this will be your electrical space, where you have your trigger sets inside to make the electrical connections, and then of course your motor goes in down here, spring in the back, and so on. So that's a version 3. This one here is a little bit different. It is a version 6. This one is out of a P90, and you can see the difference there, especially with motor orientation with version 6. Like, you can see that the motor definitely is oriented very differently from the version 2s and the version 3s. But again, very similar in how it works, and its components are basically the exact same. Now, you may have some differences with where the nozzle sits on the cylinder head and so on like that, but the basic things needed are exactly the same. You will have a cylinder head, a cylinder, piston inside, spring guide. You'll have your 3 gear sets, your cutoff lever, your electrical components as well. All the things are basically, those are your basic needs for creating a functioning gearbox. Now, this one, you'll see that the electrical components are actually going to sit outside the gearbox, whereas these ones are inside, and that's really the only difference with the version 6 here. Now, there's no better version. It's not like a new version of iOS for your Apple devices. It's not better or worse than the other. It's just simply, this is the size and style of gearbox that fits into the gun that is required to go into. You won't be able to fit a version 2 into an AK, and you won't be able to fit a version 3 into an M4. They're just made to fit different styles of guns, so that you'll be able to use them for airsoft. I hope that gave you a little bit more information about gearboxes and their styles. And again, this is Dave with MD Airsoft. Have a good one.